has ever said a negative word about her in person. Well, it looks like Angel Reese. Well, it looks like she's just been caught in what could certainly be taken as
Angel Reese exposed by her own words, not by an opponent, not by a journalist, but by the truth. She could no longer outrun. This isn't drama, this is betrayal on the grandest scale. And now the lie she built her legacy on has come back like a tidal wave. It's a collision between truth and fiction, between the crafted image of a hero and the cold, brutal exposure of a fraud. She was the face of Fire, the self-crowned queen of controversy, the voice of a so-called revolution in women's basketball, and the moment she spoke, the moment she admitted the unthinkable, everything came crashing to drown her in instant regret. This is the story of Angel Reese and the confession that just changed everything. In one of the most surreal post-game interviews of the year, Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed symbol of resilience, the so-called voice of Black female athletes, the Bayou Barbie turned cultural icon, and opened her mouth, and with shocking clarity detonated her own narrative. She said on camera, "I've never had a negative encounter in person, ever."
Yeah, I've just been worried about what's going on in my mind. I get so much love in person. I haven't ever had a negative encounter in person, ever. And I've been going through this for 3 years. I've never had an encounter in person that was negative. So people online are behind a keyboard for a reason, and I don't worry about it.
Not once, not a single insult, not a hateful fan, not a slur, not even a dirty look, just love, so much love.
And I was telling Miller today, like, she felt like she was having a rough day, and I was like, how many times have I had a rough day? And you picked me up. So don't get down on yourself. I know my teammates have my back, my coaches have my back, and that's all that really matters. I don't have to prove anything to anybody but myself and my teammates.
Second on the left.
This should have been a moment of joy, but instead it revealed a bitter truth, because this sentence, that calm, dismissive line meant to flex her confidence, completely destroyed everything she had claimed for over a year. Let's go back. For the better part of 18 months, Angel Reese has been on a public tour of victimhood, whether it was college pressers or post-game WNBA interviews, social media posts, or podcast sit-downs. The message was consistent: they hate me because I'm confident, they hate me because I'm Black, they scream slurs, they block me at hotels, they treat me like garbage.
Of course, we saw footage of that, and there was nothing malicious to it whatsoever that anybody could see. And then, of course, the Indiana Fever fans were yelling racist things or making racist noises out around the court. WNBA did an investigation.
She painted a picture of a league, of a world that didn't want her to succeed, a culture that tried to push her out.
So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that, respectfully. But sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, like, I'm talking about people have come down to my address, follow me home. Like, it's come down to that. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me, like, naked, literally.
Really?
And for a time, people believed her. She was celebrated, defended, placed on pedestals by media outlets that didn't dare question the truth behind her words. Even when the WNBA investigated multiple incidents she alleged found zero evidence, the benefit of the doubt was extended, because in today's climate, calling out false racial claims is a political minefield. But now she blew her own cover. She looked into the camera and said, "I haven't ever had a negative encounter in person, ever. It's like watching the key witness in a courtroom blurt out, I wasn't even there." After weeks of tearful testimony, this isn't a whoops, this isn't a technicality, this is a confession. Just a few weeks ago, Reese claimed a fan shouted racial slurs at her during a game in Indiana while she was at the free throw line. The media ran with it. The WNBA was forced to respond. An investigation was launched. Nothing was found before that. She claimed a Caitlin Clark supporter, a white man of course, stood outside a hotel and called her a ghetto bit.
Last June, Angel Reese claimed that a white Caitlin Clark
That too was debunked. Video showed a calm man asking her team a respectful question about a hard foul, no slurs, no threats, just civility. But now we're supposed to believe that these were just slip-ups, misunderstandings, emotional exaggerations. No, because Angels didn't just forget to mention a small detail in the heat of the moment. She went out of her way on multiple times to paint herself as a victim of hate, and now, in her own words, she admits people online are behind a keyboard for a reason. I Gets so much love in person. I've never had a negative encounter in person. Ever let that sink in? The implications are staggering. This isn't about criticism anymore. This is about credibility. This is about integrity. This is about the real victims of racism, those who don't have millions of fans or national media outlets to amplify their pain, those who really walk into hostile arenas, those who do face hatred and now risk being disbelieved because of athletes like Angel Reese, who apparently fabricated it for headline sympathy and power. What she's done intentionally or not is hijack a very real, very painful issue and weaponize it for clout. And now she's caught in the spotlight, naked, exposed, unprepared. This wasn't a hot mic. This wasn't a misquote. This wasn't taken out of context. It was her own story crumbling under the weight of her own words. And now regret has arrived swiftly, mercilessly. But don't expect ESPN to question her. Don't expect WNBA media to press her on this, because Angel Reese has become untouchable in those circles, not because she's earned it on the court, but because she fits the narrative they want to tell. A confident young black woman unfairly targeted by the world, a symbol. Only now the symbol has cracked, because this isn't about race anymore. This is about truth and the betrayal of it. And while all of this unfolds, Caitlin Clark, the supposed villain in Angel's version of the story, has stayed quiet, focused, dominant. She doesn't need the headlines. She doesn't play victim.
I just think that it's like comparing apples and oranges. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, it's like, what are we doing? Yeah, at least
they don't play the same position.
They like doing the like Magic and the Bird comparison. Well, they played similar positions. Like Bird, he played the guard position. Like they at least kind of match up. This, like, what are we doing? I'm not falling into that. I'm not into the comparison. I think that there are a number of things that Angel can improve on, will improve on in the situation she's in. And I think Caitlin Clark has done that even in her first year.
And ironically, it's Clark who's faced the real hate recently. Flagrantries, hard fouls, a public narrative that mocks her for being too white, too popular, too marketable, and yet she never asked for pity. But Angel Reese, she demanded it, and now she may never get it again, because this wasn't just a lie. This was a betrayal to fans, to teammates, to truth. And the fallout, it's just beginning. There's a moment in every fall from grace when the silence becomes deafening. Angel Reese is living in that silence now. Not the cheering of fans, not the applause of interviewers, not the constant parade of likes, retweets, and curated Instagram comment sections. No, this is the silence that follows when the crowd no longer believes you, when the story you sold them, the image you built, and collapses like paper in a storm. And now, with the truth laid bare, there is no way out. You can almost feel the temperature shift in the media and locker rooms, on social media feeds once filled with blind allegiance and copy-paste praise. The narrative is no longer in her control. The leash is off. The consequences are circling, because this wasn't a misstep. This was a pattern. And the admission, the damning, undeniable admission, blew it all open. Let's be clear, Angel Reese didn't just accidentally contradict herself. She disqualified her entire persona with that one quote: "I've never had a negative encounter in person, ever." Not only does that expose previous allegations as false, it undermines every ounce of credibility she's clung to, and worse, it shows that for months, maybe longer, she allowed others to carry her lie like gospel. Her coaches, her teammates, her fans, they rallied around her. They defended her against supposed racist slurs from Indiana fans. They attacked anyone who dared question her story about the hotel incident. They labeled critics as haters, racists, misogynists.
It's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the people in our league, the organization, the WNBA. But there are a lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league. I think continuing to uplift this league in a very positive light is the best thing that we can do, because there are so many great players, there's so many great teams, there are so many positive storylines that can be written and celebrated. And for me, that's why I became a fan of this league, is these people were my idols. I grew up wanting to be like them. So I think continuing to uplift and, represent this league in a positive way is the best thing that we can do.
And now she's left them all hanging in midair. And here's what's worse. She won't be held accountable, not by the legacy media, not by the WNBA, not by the blue check brigade that breathes through social outrage. There won't be any press conference to clear the air, no on-camera apology, no "I misspoke," because that would require humility. That would mean acknowledging the lie and surrendering the image. But that image, the defiant, victimized queen, has been too profitable to abandon. The BET Awards, the Interviews, the covers, the brand, the merchandise, all built on the back of a narrative: they hate me because I'm me. But now that the hate has been proven a fiction, what happens to the brand? What happens to the empire built on smoke? And what about the real victims of racism in sports, young athletes who have endured hate in person, who've been spat at, threatened, called names on the court, or in the stands? Those moments were real, documented, verifiable. But Angel Reese just set them back. She handed skeptics their golden bullet. She gave the doubters a reason to point and say, see, it's all made up, just like Angel. And that's not just reckless, that's destructive. She didn't just lie when she delegitimized the fight for justice she claimed to represent, and now she's doubled the burden for anyone coming after her, because now every real story will be met with one question: is this another Angel Reese situation? Make no mistake, this will haunt her, even if the media shields her, even if her sponsors stay quiet, even if the league tiptoes around the issue. She'll hear it in the crowd, she'll feel it on the court, she'll see it in every suspicious glance from someone who used to clap on instinct, because once you've burned the bridge of truth, there's no return route, there's only isolation. And the worst part, she did this to herself. The WNBA had a moment, a real pivotal moment, with Caitlin Clark bringing record-setting ratings and new eyes to the league. Players like Angel Reese had the stage of a lifetime, a chance to shine, to be known for their game, for their greatness. Instead, Reese used that spotlight to manufacture controversy, to stir division, to play the victim. And now, as the truth unravels, she's being seen for what she really is: not a trailblazer, but a manipulator; not a hero of justice, but a symbol of exploitation. Just didn't elevate the league, she endangered its credibility. Let's talk about the teammates. Because behind the cameras, there's a locker room, and in that locker room are women who stood beside her, who bought into the image, who echoed the injustice she claimed to endure. What do they feel now? Betrayal, embarrassment. The trust in a team is sacred, and Angel's lie didn't just fracture public perception and fractured faith within her own house. How many of her teammates went to bat for her only to find out they were defending fiction? This kind of fallout doesn't just go away, it simmers, it lingers, it divides. The road ahead is bleak, because the only way out is through truth, and truth requires accountability. And yet we already know what's coming. The same voices who screamed protect Angel will scream leave her alone. She'll be painted as misunderstood. They'll say she was under pressure, that she was traumatized, that critics are just trying to tear down a successful black woman. They'll twist the story again, but they can't twist her words. They were clear, final, fatal. I've never had a negative encounter in person, ever. And now we watch the narrative she built burn. The sympathy is gone, the doubt is permanent, the legacy tainted, perhaps irreversibly. Because in sports, the scoreboard tells one truth, but character tells the other. And in this game, Angel Reese just lost both. Drop your opinion in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.